Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of our Smith College Java video. The first video was on how to set up Java, or kind of like an overview of it, so I highly recommend looking at that video before watching this one, just because we will be running some Java code in this video. So what exactly is Java? Well, Java is a programming language like Python, it's just that the syntax is quite different. And here are some other terminologies to look at when we talk about Java, which is that Java is a strongly typed language and that it is an object-oriented programming language. You don't really need to understand what either of those two mean. We will be going over them in the next few videos. And Java is a pretty fast language because it is a strongly typed language. So this is what Java code looks like. You don't really have to understand every single thing in this Java code. What I want you to get out of this video is to try to pick out just small keywords and see what exactly this code does, or like a general overview of what this code does. So some of the keywords that I do want to point out is this class called Hello World and this main function. And the reason why I know this is a main function is because it's called main and it has these parentheses. And when I see parentheses, I usually always think that it is a function within the Java code. You don't have to pay attention to any of this stuff right here, just because they're a little confusing and they're not going to be integral into understanding how this code works. So class is pretty important in Java because anytime we start any Java code, we will always encase them inside a class, and we're going to call it the same thing as what we call our file name, which is both hello world. So a class is kind of like the overall biggest container you're going to see inside a Java code. And the reason why I say that is because it has the opening curly braces here and has the ending curly braces for class here. So you can already see that this is the biggest container. And we have a smaller container of our main function denoted by these opening and closing braces right here. And inside the main function, we have another line of code right here. We're going to ignore the system.out here, but we can automatically see here that this says print line. ln is for line. So this might be some kind of a print statement. And inside the print statement, we see this hello world. So we can kind of deduce that this is probably just going to be printing hello world. So now let's compare it to Python. You can automatically see that in Python, it's a lot easier to read and write. Here we define the main function. Just like in Java, we have the name main, and then we have the parentheses to denote that it is a function, and we print hello world. Just the key difference here is that in Python, we have to call the main function at the end of our file in order to run this code, whereas in Java, we don't do that. So now let's look at a little harder code. So this is kind of like the same thing, except we added one additional line of code. So here we still have the same class hello world, and this is our overall container. And then we have the main function once again. Ignore what's inside the parentheses for now. So we have these main function. Here's the opening curly brace, and here is the ending curly brace for the main function. And then we still have this print line hello world. But it's not just inside the main function. It's actually nested inside with this line of code right here, and it's this one block of code. Here's the opening braces, and here's the closing braces. And we see here a very familiar keyword if you've already taken Python, the intro level course. Here's the for. And we can already kind of see that this is probably some form of a for loop. We have a for and we have an I, much like how we have it in Python. And we just need to see that because this print line is within the for loop, we're probably going to be printing hello world some number of times. Here I'm just going to tell you it's going to print 5 times. We don't really have to understand this portion, but I'm just going to tell you it's 5. And I'll go over more in detail of how the syntax works in later videos. So here, once again, let's compare it to Python again. And so we have the def main, just like we have the main function here. And this for I in range 5 is same as this for loop right here, which is a lot more convoluted to see. Then here we have print hello world, much like how we have a print line hello world here. And once again, we call the main function in the Python code itself in order to run it, but we do not do that in our Java code. So now we are going to write this code right here. I highly recommend you to pause this video so they can copy this code down in a text editor that you should have downloaded in the first video. And here we're going to go over how to run your Java code. So there's two steps to this. There's actually compiling the code and there's executing the code. And I'll kind of try to explain colloquially what exactly is the difference between compiling and executing your code. So I'm going to exit out of here now, and I have already memorized this code because I wrote it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this. So I am using this text editor called Text Wrangler, which is a lot older and uglier than Atom is, but Atom is super slow on my computer, so I can't use it. First, it's called untitled text right here, so if I were to write anything in here, it doesn't recognize it as a Java code, and the reason why I know that is because it's not color coding anything. So first I need to save this as a Java code, so Command S for saving, and I'm going to save it in this file called and I am going to be calling this Hello World because that's what we called it in our example. And in order to save any Java code, you always have to say .java. Perfect, now I color-coded it to see that this is a keyword in Java called import. Now, once again, the class name is going to be the same as the file name without the Java. And if you don't have them as the same name, where class name and the file name is the same, then Java is not going to be able to compile and execute your code. So here we have the keyword class, and it's going to be hello world, the same as our file name. And we have our opening and closing curly braces. If the curly braces kind of confuse you, then I highly recommend, so this is / is comments in Java. I usually say end class right here. And then I can do the same thing for the main function as well. So here I just memorized this, and you don't have to understand what any of that means. Just know that you kind of needed to run your actual Java code. So we're just going to play along with Java and write it for Java. And once again, if the curly braces are messing you up, then I like to say / end main to comment saying that this is the ending closing braces for main function. And then there was this convoluted for loop, so once again, just copy this down. You don't really have to understand what it's doing. Just know that this is a for loop that's going to loop 5 times. And I have also memorized this, but the key point here is the print line. Okay, now I'm going to save this. Now we're going to need to go to our terminal in order to run this code. So here I go to my terminal, and when I open it up, I am at this tilde, meaning I'm at the user part. But I have saved this on my file, you could say. So I have to get there. In order to get there, I need to call cd, which is called change directory. And because the directory is actually saved in my desktop, I'm going to first go to my desktop, and then I'm going to go to the F file. So I am here now. And so this is my ed directory right here. I just call it ed because it's like super easy to write. So you have the hello world.java file that we just wrote, which is this one. So in order to compile our Java code, we first say javac for compiling hello world.java. Now we're going to see if we get any errors, and we get no errors. You get like compilation error if you have like misspellings and stuff. So when we compile our code, you get this new file called helloworld.class. So the compilation part is kind of like dumbing our code down from this human language code into computer language code. And the computer is going to be able to run Java using helloworld.class. And that's the whole point of compiling something. And if you want to execute your code, which is just running your code, then you say Java without the C, and you say hello world without the .java. And it prints hello world 5 different times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect. So that is like the key difference between compiling and executing. Compiling, dumbing the code down so computers understand it. Executing, just actually running the code. So here is the slide version of what I just talked about. And once again, I just want to stress the fact that you absolutely need to have the class name as the same as the file name, except without the .java here, obviously, as I've mentioned before, or else you won't be able to run your Java code. But that's